Now we learn to today we are going to discuss another very important aspect of ocular trauma, and that is by the injuries to the eye by different chemicals. These injuries we collectively call them as chemical burns of the eye. Here you can see this photograph. This is a case of a child who has been thrown these acids incidentally while he was at home. And you can see there are a lot of blisters, burns involving the face, nose, cheeks, eyes, and forehead, and ears, and neck, and all these structures. They have been damaged by an acid accidental installation of this acids onto the face of this child. And when not properly treated, these chemical burns can lead to very severe damage to the face and including the eye. In eye, there may be loss of tissue, including the lids, these eyelashes, lids may be lost, corneal scarring may be there, corneal perforation may be there. If the damage is less, then entropion, ectropion, symblepharon, corneal opacities, cataract, glaucoma, perforation, or even eye may be totally lost as a result of severe damage to the globe by different chemicals. And the best treatment is the to best treatment to manage these chemical burns is immediate without even taking proper history. If the patient or his relatives uh, just tell the history of acid or alkali, then we should start copious irrigation without any delay. In eye, this chemical burn of the eye is the real emergency, where we do not take even the history or even the vision or even the detailed examination. If the patient or his relatives just say that कि जी बच्चे की आँख में तेजाब पड़ गया या सोडा पड़ गया, तो we should take immediate actions to minimize the damage of the chemical burn to the deeper structure of the eye. We broadly group these chemicals which can cause burns to the eye into alkalis and acids. Alkali burns, they are more damaging to the eye because they produce the most severe injuries as the alkalis react with fats of the tissues to form soaps. Sponification of the lipids, cholesterol, and all the fats occurs. This sponification of the structures, ocular structures, allows the deeper penetration of the this alkalis, and thus they damage more deeper structures. So alkalis are more damaging to the eye as compared to acids. Acids also cause very severe damage to the eye, but when compared with the alkalis cause more severe damage because they form soaps when they react with the organic tissues of this eye of the body. And this sponification of the tissues allows deeper penetration of the alkalis into these structures, and this alkalis causes more damage uh, to all the structures of the eye. as compared to acids. While acids, when they react with the ocular structures, they coagulate the proteins, and this precipitation of the proteins creates a barrier for further penetration. Thus, acids, when they react with the ocular tissue gets precipitates, proteins get coagulate, and this coagulation of the proteins acts as a barrier, and this barrier prevents further deeper damage. Thus, these acids are less damaging to the ocular structures. Common alkali agents which cause damage while working in industries, at home or other environments. In order of decreasing severities, sodium hydroxide, caustic soda like potassium hydroxide, potash, and calcium hydroxide, which is lime. These alkalis are usually used in different industries or other uses at home, and they can cause damage to the eye. While hydrochloric acids, sulfuric acids, burst of these car batteries, charging batteries at home or in the industrial environment, they may cause damage to the eye. Is coming to the clinical features of these chemical burns. If there is a case of chemical burn, first we should uh, irrigate the eyes with liters and liters of these any available fluid. If a patient reaches the hospital, we should irrigate with the ringer lactate or normal saline. But if at the site there is no such fluid available, we can use just tap water or any available water or even any available liquid which dilutes these substances, alkalis or acids. That should be used to dilute the chemicals to avoid further damage to the eyes. And after copious irrigation, frequent irrigation, we should assess the damage which has occurred to the eye. And this assessment is necessary for the further management and for the prognosis of the this accident, how the eye will behave subsequent times. And we should assess the extent and severity of these burns by examining the degree of limbal ischemia. We should assess how the limbus appears. If it is red hyperemic, that means there is less ischemia. But if there is whitening of the limbal area, that means that chemicals have concentration of the chemicals are severe enough to cause coagulation of the blood vessels in the subconjunctival area, and this coagulation of the blood vessels in the subconjunctival tissue results in limbal ischemia. This limbal ischemia shows the extent of chemical burn as a result of coagulation of the blood vessels in the subconjunctiva. This limbal ischemia should be measured. It should be assessed how much of the this whether it is one third, less than one third, one half, or more than one half. Another very important prognostic factor is corneal epithelial damage. We should assess about the extent of corneal epithelium. because in severe cases the full epithelium may be uh, abraded or can be damaged. But if the corneal epithelium is intact, then we can have a better prognosis. Another feature of the chemical burden is corneal clouding. Is the cornea clear or it is cloudy or hazy? Similarly, elevated IOP. IOP should be assessed just by digital tonometry by the fingers. Uh, the different instruments should not be used to assess the IOP. Rather, it should be assessed by just your fingers. That is called digital tonometry. So these factors should be assessed for proper grading of the chemical burns. IOP, corneal clouding, epithelium, damage to the epithelium, and the limbal ischemia. Uh, that means if the limbal ischemia is very important as far as the prognosis of the this burns is concerned. Hyperemic eye has retained its vascular supply, while white and quiet eye is ischemic and predisposed to corneal melting and perforation in the follow-up periods. So, hyperemic eye is a good sign. This means that the blood supply to the eye present in the subconjunctival tissues is intact, while if the eye is white and quiet, not very angry looking, this means that there is severe ischemia as a result of coagulation of the blood vessels. And this white and quiet eye is ischemic, and the prognosis for these eyes is not very good. Corneal epithelium, uh, in this patient, you can see that there is limbal hyperemia. That means blood vessel at the limbus, they are intact, while its epithelium has been is totally abraded and devitalized, and the penetration of the chemicals deeper in the this corneal structures, cornea has become cloudy. Yes, as we have discussed that acids cause less damage. In this case, you can see that its epithelium was totally opaque, and when we remove this opaque precipitated epithelium, cornea was clear. Cornea was not damaged as a result of barrier formation of by the corneal epithelium. This corneal epithelium has been damaged, and when we removed the corneal epithelium, its stroma was totally clear. This shows less that acid caused less damage to the eye. Corneal clouding is another prognostic feature, and it should be assessed. If cornea is severely edematous or hazy, this shows the severity of the burn. Similarly, if the IOP is raised, this shows damage to the trabecular meshwork present at the angle has occurred, and that is causing obstruction to the aqueous outflow, resulting in glaucoma. That is also a bad sign. And keeping these four features of limbal ischemia, corneal epithelium, corneal haziness or cloudiness, and IOP, sorry, we can grade the chemical burns into four grades. Grade 1 has excellent prognosis, cornea is clear, and limbal ischemia is nil. No limbal ischemia is there. If this is the situation, that is called grade 1, and it has very excellent prognosis. this one. Grade 2 इसमें in grade 2 prognosis is good, cornea is hazy, but we can see the iris details. Cornea is slightly hazy and we are able to see the corneal details, and limbal ischemia is less than one third. Here we can see that there is some limbal ischemia and slight haziness of the cornea. This case has also good prognosis. Grade 3 has guarded prognosis. Here corneal hazy, and cornea is hazy to the extent that we cannot see the iris details. Limbal ischemia is more than one third but less than half of the cornea, half of the limbus. So this one third to one half of the limbus is ischemic with severe corneal haziness to the extent that you cannot see the iris details. This is grade 3 and this has guarded prognosis. Here the prognosis is not very good. But in grade 4, very poor prognosis. Here you can see that cornea is totally opaque, epithelium is abraded, where large epithelial defects are there, and limbal ischemia is more than half of the limbus, more than 180 degree of the limbus is totally ischemic. These cases have very poor prognosis. So after staging, grading of the chemical burn comes, we come to the management of the chemicals burn. As I have discussed in the early in the lecture, that immediate and copious irrigation with any available liquid should be done without any pause, without any delay, without any taking the history or details of the incident. If we hear about the chemicals, acid or alkali, we should start immediate irrigation with any available fluid. If and that depends on the site of the injury or where you have received the patient. If you are in hospital, then preferably this irrigation should be done with river lactate or normal saline, and continue this irrigation at least 1 liter per eye. And if both eyes are involved, then we should ask the patient to lay on a couch, put some this local anesthetics into the eyes, and put in place these lid speculums, and then we should start this river lactate irrigation, or if it is not available, then normal saline can be used. The aim is to neutralize the chemical, the acid or the alkali, and this should be continued until and unless this pH level is neutralized as is in the normal range. And pH should be checked after every 30 minutes with the litmus paper to ensure the neutralization of the chemicals, and it should be continued until this pH is normal. At least each eye should be irrigated with 1 liter lactate or normal saline. And if there is any particulate material embedded in the fornix or in the lids, that should be removed mechanically. So uh, this action, immediate action of extensive irrigation of the eyes is more important than any follow-up treatment. So if you have done this copious irrigation, you can save the eyes. And but if this irrigation has been delayed for minutes or for hours, then there may be irreversible damage to the eyes. So after copious irrigation, we should manage the eyes to reduce further complications in the post-op periods. We should start topical steroids to reduce initial cellular migration to reduce tissue destruction, to reduce inflammation. We should start these topical steroids, but they should be used during first 2 weeks. Then they should be stopped during the third week, and after that we can use these steroids cautiously. So aim is to reduce inflammation and to reduce the further complications like uveitis, cataract formation, symblepharon formation, and all these adhesions. We should use these anti-inflammatory drugs like topical steroids. We can use this collagenase inhibitor, cysteine and acetylcysteine. Topical steric acid to inhibit neutrophil activity. The aim is to reduce the chances of scarring, healing, and extensive damage, extensive scarring or adhesion formation in and around the eye should be inhibited. Similarly, ascorbic acid can be used both orally and topically. Topical and systemic tetracyclines. These are also used to inhibit collagenase and neutrophil activities. Antibiotics should be used to avoid any superadded infection. Cycloplegic should be used to relieve the pain of the patients. And if there is raised intraocular pressure, then anti-glaucoma or ocular hypotensive drugs should be used. So this treatment should be continued for weeks, and then after in the follow-up period, we should assess any complication which has occurred, and that should be managed properly. If there is entropion or ectropion, symblepharon, persistent epithelial defect, corneal perforation, that should be managed surgically. But medical treatment is limited to all these substances. That is steroids, acetyl acetylcysteine, topical steric acid, ascorbic acid, topical and systemic tetracyclines. Vitamin A can be used both topically or systemically. Antibiotics, cycloplegics, and anti-glaucoma drugs. These should be used, and surgical intervention should be reserved in case of any further complications. Thank you very much. With this we conclude this chemical burns or ocular trauma with the message, with the take-home message is that if there is you see any case of chemical burn involving the eye, copious, immediate, and copious irrigation should be started. Thank you very much.